He's released a couple days ago Stalker 2 and I have already managed to play about 20 hours and ready to share my first impression. Let's start immediately with the technical side, because it is in the first place interested for many people, because it depends on whether you can comfortably play or not. And I will say that there are a lot of problems with it. First, the optimization is really bad. I on my system played on 1080p low with DLSS. I get around 80-90 FPS on average, and when I go into the settlements there falls to 40-50 and it is directly visible unpleasant. You can play all with that, but at high graphic settings I don't wanna play cause drop FPS can be worse. Secondly, there are a lot of bugs, but I saw only unharmful, like NPC fly up or some NPC bodies almost disappeared, but there were no crashes, so I was lucky. Now let's get to the gameplay, and there are a lot of positives as well as negatives. When the game started and I have already gone through the prologue, one side quest became available. It was necessary to save one person and he was in one building. And on this mission I died many times, but not because I am a bad player, but because here in the darker places is very bad to see where enemies. Just like that you can see. So it took a long time to get used to. Even a flashlight does not really help. Yes, with him much better, but still not comfortable. So here they need to add night vision. I think it will be super. Now let's talk about another drawback: enemies. Specifically mutants. They're really fat here, and this is a real bad skill from the game. Because to kill Bloodsucker you need to spend at least 20 bullets shotgun or at least 50 bullets rifle, and this is a lot. Because of this you will die more often and spend more time. But the time to shoot at people here is a pleasure, because the enemy to die you need to either hit the first time in the head and all, or a couple of times to shoot in any part of the body. In general, shooting here feels awesome. The sound of each weapon here is as realistic as possible. There is no feeling that you have shot with a toy. And animations are maximally meticulous to reality. This is really cool, I like it. Now we move into another topic. Here you have shot worn out weapons on armor and you need to fix it, and fix it here it will be technician, and these dudes take a lot. It's very expensive repair, so at some point you will have not enough money, and for story quests or additional quests you get a little bit, which causes dissonance and lack of understanding how to play it all. Forgot to say something else about the enemies. It is better to give a run, because here loot from them you can get, so there is no point in wasting bullets. Of course mutants should be stronger and more complex than humans, but they should not be so impenetrable. It may seem that I didn't like mutants, but each enemy will be different somehow, different abilities, different behavior, and it was really cool. Fights with them you will remember very well. The Bloodsucker, for example, becomes invisible and the controller can teleport you to himself. And such variety here is principle enough, only of course it is a pity that you are not free to choose how you fight. In terms, for example, stealth is broken here. You can pass quietly when only the plot allows. Now I'd like to talk about the other part of gameplay, namely the exploration of the world, and it is here open and quite huge, and there seems to be something to do. You can find stages, side quests to fulfill, but there is a feeling that the world is half empty, so little of unique content. After all, for example, side quests get from the hub and only from there, and when you go from one point to another on the main quest or additional, then almost nothing to meet, no random NPC, no situation exciting. You will not find a random quest or some super interesting place. Then you wonder if there is a need for such a huge world. I will make it a little smaller and the game will be even better. I also forgot to add that you will be searching for artifacts, and they are searched for with the help of an echo detector. When your device starts flashing more, it will mean that you're gradually closer to the artifact. And these mysterious things give buffs and debuffs. For example, one artifact can give resistance to electrical damage, but in return you are vulnerable to radiation. I was dumb at first, I didn't know what else can harm you. Walking around somewhere I have increased the radiation scale and puzzle why it happens, so but further understand it's because of artifact. Back to the topic of the open world, I can understand that in the principle the zone and should be have empty because life not exists here, but at the same time there could be added something cool to fill this world. The first region, Zalicia, is for me the most elaborate, at least because of the location of the poppy field. This was really for me new content that's not hidden behind the main plot. There is a direct sense of atmospheric vibe. That's the kind of thing I would like more, where the mechanics are cool and visually appealing. Now let's move on to the biggest plus of the game is for me, namely the main quest, side quest and atmosphere. The story here begins with the fact that the protagonist's apartment explodes because of some artifact, and now he went to the zone to find this item and get answers as a matter of fact why this happened with his apartment. And accidentally gets involved in the confrontation of different factions. Does that remind you of anything? It certainly reminds me of Fallout New Vegas. After all, that here, different factions with their ideology met with each other head on, well as there is no obviously bad or good faction. Also in Stalker you do not only pass the plot looking at cutscenes, but also have choices, that is who to help, who to kill and so on, and these choices in the future affect the next quest, on what you will do, where and what ending of the 4 you get. I honestly didn't expect to see that here at all, so it was quite a pleasant surprise for me. I'm a fan of that. Side quests here quite interesting, for example that location poppy field is connected to one quest, so here side quests not just bring, serve, kill, not a level of MMO fetch quest, and somehow all interestingly told. Also here is very cool atmosphere, at some point can go rain with lighting, or can begin a missive from which you will have to hide in the shelter place. In general, the game is really good but still needs polishing. Yes, there are already patches and half my claims are no longer valid, but I don't know how well the patches have fixed the problems. And also if you have not played the previous games, then don't be afraid, you don't have to play them. I'm the person who is not familiar with this universe. The second part is very friendly to new players. So if you played, what you thought about this game, and if not, you will try it. Bye, see you next time.